Welcome to Monday's Market Outlook here at Top Gun Options. Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Whiz. Is going to be an incredible week. A lot going on, but obviously, I guess you could say the week kicks off on Sundays, at least for some people. And the breaking news is that the S&P 500 has downgraded the Oscars from overweight to underperform. What an absolute clown car last night with the best picture. All credit goes to Steve Harvey, right? First of all, it's an echo chamber. It's a disgusting echo chamber of high school educated liberals who make more money than we'll ever see in our lives, trying to preach to us. It's awful. And my buddy, I actually shot a scene. I was in a movie called The King. If you're ever bored and need to rent something, I'm in the first scene in this movie with Gael Garcia Bernal, this Mexican heartthrob guy. He takes aim at Trump's wall. I guess I should have checked his papers before I shot my scene with him. But just what the slams on Trump and everything like this, folks, this is all fake. If you have some time today, Google Marlon Brando, albeit one of the best actors in Hollywood history, from the grave. He did hours upon hours of recordings with this guy who's trying to make this into a movie. He's never going to get it made into a movie because of all the things he says. You have to see what Marlon Brando has to say about acting. He hated it. He said it was disgusting. He's like, we're all a bunch of liars. They're all lies. We become people who we aren't, and it's just an incredible. This article on CNN pulls out some of the snippets of it, and it'll rip your face off about acting. I did my time in Hollywood when I was still flying Hornets out in Orange County, and so I did commercials, I did a couple TV shows, did a couple movies. It really is Planet Hollywood, folks. It's disgusting, and people who are enamored with all this stuff are, in my opinion, equally as disgusting because it's fantasy. It's a world that doesn't exist. It's all made up. They live in this little echo chamber, like I said, this bubble where they just it's fake love. It's awful. But just watching that go down in flames last night put some warmth in my heart, as I'm sure it did for many of you, because it's just that ain't America, folks. That's a portion of America. They're all Americans. We're all inclusive. But I don't need these people telling me what to believe or think, okay? I mean, these people still think that Hillary Clinton won the election. All right, enough on the Oscars and that train wreck. The market's doing exactly what we said it would do last week. I said it would trade sideways and maybe even there's our weekly options live trade brief last Monday where I said, hey, not putting on any trades, but I'd look at a bear call spread. On Thursday, I did a free webinar for a bunch of folks, and I said, hey, I put on a S&P 500 bear call spread out through the State of the Union address. He is going to underwhelm. There's no way on God's green earth he is going to come in there and knock the cover off the ball. Period. As a matter of fact, I'm reading reports that the Democrats are going to troll him. They're going to be yelling. It's going to turn into like the House of Commons, or when you watch the British Parliament when the Prime Minister speaks, the Prime Minister's minute or notes or whatever they're called. And they all yell at him and boo and yay, and here we go. So it's going to be an absolute shit show. And I think the markets don't like shit shows. I mean, the S&P's up 10% since the election, and the Dow's up 13%. We need an excuse to take some profits and have a nice little healthy pullback, just like we did here. Here's the election. Oh my God, he won. Really? And then a pop. We need a oh really moment here. We're going to get it. So he's going to talk about taxes, obviously. I think the tax rally was pulled forward. He's going to talk about dismantling the Affordable Care Act. And I love how some of the media organizations are saying, oh, well, the approval rates have never been higher. The poll that they're citing had a 14% oversampling of Democrats. Here we go again with them lying in the polls or shoving polls in our faces that I just don't believe. So, this guy had a great quote here. Where's he from? From Charles Schwab. Expectations relating to the new administration's policies are already priced in. Sound familiar? Including corporate tax reform, infrastructure spending, and deregulation. Steve Mnuchin gave a good interview last week about deregulation, maybe around August. Obamacare, maybe next year. So this rally has definitely been pulled forward. And if you're a member, please hang on here because we're going to talk about some positions that I'm going to skinny out here. I'd expect to see some vol, not on economic data, but as we continue to see the evolution of policies, either in timing or direction. So if you notice, there's been a bunch of macroeconomic reports that have come out that I rarely brief anymore. My members have probably picked up on this. Core durable goods was a miss. Durable goods was a little bit of a beat. Remember, whenever you see the word core, it means X something. X autos, X aircraft, something like that. So when you see core durable goods, this is X transportation items. Okay, so I pending home sales, biggest miss, and I think it was a year. Yawn. Who cares? Nobody cares about this macroeconomic data anymore. So the folks who have come to my marketing webinars, my free trade briefs, who bail out within, there's a handful of people that bail out pretty quickly. Oh, I hate your politics. Let me get out of here. I'm like, if you don't think politics are driving this market, please get out of here because you're an idiot. And a fool and their money are soon parted. The only thing driving this market right now is politics and Washington. Nothing else. In the old days, if there was nothing going on in Washington, all these numbers would be pushing us around a little bit. It's not your father or mother's stock market. So on Friday, we had the 11th consecutive record close with the Dow. But gold prices are going up. Bond prices are going up. Everything's going up. We joked last week when CNBC did the old best move, just buy everything. When you see that on CNBC, it's time to get out. Okay. Volatility is extremely low for where we are right now, which should say a lot. Finally, Warren Buffett, and again, members, hold on for a second because we need to scale some positions out tonight. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway more than doubled its sales stake in 133 million shares. And when he bought this? Before earnings. Not saying that Warren didn't know something, not saying the Oracle Omaha isn't called the Oracle for obvious reasons, but Apple's one of Berkshire's biggest investments, man. It is, and this was bought at his direction, not like one of his managers or something like that. So this is a big deal, and he said this on CNBC this morning. So you got a little bit of a Berkshire put in Apple. After the State of the Union tomorrow night and maybe a little bit of a pullback in the market, I think I'm going to get back into some or get into establish some new Jan 19 positions in Apple. Not because I super love it, but because he does. And you can trade flow, folks. If a guy's going in like this, a Carl Icahn, a Warren Buffett with some serious coin, they just don't enjoy putting their money on a table and lighting it on fire and watching it burn. That just doesn't that doesn't turn them on. So they obviously put their money where they think it's going to work. Let's talk about some positions, folks. I know a lot of my members have a lot of Goldman Sachs positions on. I have 5 of a Jan 19 long call diagonal. That's up. It was up about 11 or 12 grand last week, starting to sell off a little bit here. I'm probably going to pair out of 3 of these and go down to 2. Okay. The one that I put on last month, that's up $1,600. I'm going to leave alone. Same thing if you're in the accelerated retirement or urgent alert service, my JP Morgan positions, I'm going to scale back a couple contracts on those. All my financial positions, folks, I'm going to scale back maybe to half or to a third of the contracts, okay? Again, I can't give you investment advice. I'm letting you know what I am doing. But I know some of our members had 20 contracts in some of these Goldman Sachs positions that are crushing it. And a couple of you actually paired back already, which is great. You got to fly and fight your own airplane, and I think that's a good move. My Brazil position, going to scale back a little bit in that too. It's up 126% year to date. So I think we have a sell on the news. There's no way in hell he's going to overperform. Even if he does overperform, do you think the media is going to say he did? So we got to use our brains. I know I went against the media and got the election right, but when it comes to something like this, the market will listen to the media when it says, oh my God, that sucked. People were, the Democrats were booing him. It looked like an absolute, kindergarten class. The markets don't like that, okay? So I would start scaling back. Anything where we have significant profits on, let's just scale it back. This isn't going to be a correction. This is going to be the VIX is down here at 11.5, guys. So there just isn't any fear out there. One of the reasons last week people were like, well, Whiz, if the VIX is so low, why aren't you getting long vol? Because maybe for a short 1 or 2 day trade, maybe around this, but I'm not a super in and out of the VIX in like a day. Around the Brexit, I held positions for a week in and week out, and we did like about $22,000 in throughout all our portfolios. This isn't. I think if we see any sell on the inauguration that happened back here, sell on the State of the Union, it's going to be a buying opportunity. BTFD. If you don't know what that term is, write it down, or you've been missing out on all these rallies. Buy the frigging dip. So if we get a dip on the State of the Union, I don't think it's going to be super long, but we're going to head back up. Again, folks, remember the underlying fundamentals here. A Treasury Secretary, a Commerce Department, an EPA who is hell-bent on gutting regulations. The man himself said 75% of regulations suck. They're duplicates. We have entire floors of companies devoted to compliance officers and compliance teams and everything like that. Tax regulation. If that comes down, at least take half of what we're expected to see. If we see that, it's great for the market. If we get the whole enchilada, forget about it. That goes right to companies' bottom lines. That goes to your bottom lines. I mean, hell, if we see significant tax reform for the middle class or even the upper middle class, go look at retailers. Maybe, the Nordstroms, the Tiffany's start coming back in vogue here. And obviously, tax reform means that Apple and all these companies can bring their quadrillion dollars that are stashed overseas home and start hiring people, acquiring other companies, or building new products. So remember, if we have any pullback, it's because the rally was pulled forward. It'll be one of these. Remember, this was the hope rally. Hey, we hope he does everything he says. This was the, oh my God, he's actually doing it. And then we're going to have to wallow around here until we actually see the doing get done. And finally, the Affordable Care Act. I know it's turning into a train wreck. I know we have all these professional protesters showing up at different congressmen and senators' places. Bernie Sanders giving all these people crap. Bernie Sanders hasn't held a town hall since 2014. Holy hypocrite, Batman. I can't stand those people. And I love the fact that the guy that won, who's the new DNC chairman, was the one who essentially colluded with Hillary to make sure Bernie didn't go anywhere in the primary. So good job, Democrats, electing a guy that's going to make sure we're in power for the essentially the rest of my natural life here, hopefully. But all right, guys, it's going to be an incredible week. Like I said, go take a look at this Marlon Brando interview. Google, I think I googled like Marlon Brando on acting, and the man, he nails it. He absolutely nails it about the psychology of actors and how people who flock to this type of stardom or name drop or love this all type of stuff, like it's gross. If you've never known love, you never know where it is. You don't know what it looks like. It sounds like. You look in the most unlikely places to find it. Yeah, good. Yeah, a man at odds with the industry, because he essentially ripped the veil off the industry and looked behind it. He pulled off the mask and showed you what is behind that mask, and it ain't pretty. So that's your homework for today. Read this article or listen to some of the things that Marlon Brando had to say, and it'll give you a different take on all these people that get dressed up and go out to all the clubs and the lifestyle that they lead, and what's really behind it, and how empty it is, and what a shell of a being some of these people can be. Okay, and the fact that he did that, he admitted that he was a shell. He's like, they call me one of the best in the business. He's like, I'm a shell. I'm nobody in here. I'm insecure and just I'm just a guy who puts his pants on and everybody loves me. Great. But yeah, get ready for the State of the Union tomorrow night, and it's going to be a doozy. I think we turn into the British House of Commons, and it's going to get ugly. So I got to run. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. For my members, make sure you check your inbox for a link to the timing research session that I'm going to be holding at 1. It's going to be a doozy because we're going to be talking about all these issues. But like I said, if you're seeing any potential significant profits in any of your positions, hey man. What you do on your side of the computer in your bunny slippers is your own business, not mine. But if you're looking, I mean, come on, man. Goldman Sachs up 10, 11 grand in 2 months, 3 months. I'm going to scale out of this. Get a nice pullback, get right back into it. Take the profits and get back into it. Like I said, the financials are still cheap in my opinion because they got a lot of room to run when, not if, all these reforms take place. Okay, so I'll see many of you guys at 1 o'clock at the Timing Research Show. If you need the link, I'll tell you what, I'll post on my Facebook page on Top Gun, and I'll also put it on my Twitter just in case you guys didn't see in your email. Okay, I'll see you guys at 1 o'clock.